Hey guys, it's Frank Spear. I wanted to come on and do this first video that I'm doing with the new camera and the new lighting and the new setup and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm going to be putting out a lot of content as I promised. That's my content. That's my promise to you. And or at least I'm going to try real hard. What I wanted to do today is just make a short video about music theory in general, because having a good grasp on how notes work with scales and scales with chords and chords turn into progressions and progressions into songs is key. Now, I'm going to do this in a really simple way. This is going to be like ABCs. Like, there's no way you're not going to understand it, okay? So I'm just going to jump right into it, okay? There are only 12 notes. For all intents and purposes in Western music, there are only 12. I know somebody that comes and be like, well, there's incidentals and there's other notes in between the notes. Yeah, I know. But we're talking about Western pop music, rock music. Okay, there are 12 notes. We have chosen in the Western part of the world 7 of those 12 notes to make a scale. And we base almost all of our popular music on those 7 notes in that one same scale, the major scale. To make a minor scale out of it, we only change one note. So you've got 12 notes in the world. You've got 7 of those for Western music put in a particular sequence, in a particular pattern: do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it's back to the first note, 1 octave higher. And then you can keep doing it again, an octave higher and an octave higher, so you can keep running up. When you look at this guitar, people who don't play an instrument will think, look at all those notes. Well, it's only 12 notes repeated over and over again from low to high, right? From here, on this low string right here, from here to here are all the notes right there in that string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then it repeats higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay? And then on the next string, it does the same thing. It's just repeating those 12 notes, starting from a different note here and so forth. So there are only 12 notes. 7 of them we take. There's your major scale. I played it in G. We could play it from here and play it in A. We could play it from B. 7 notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. No, don't quiz me. Those are not the right notes. I know I didn't sing them perfectly. Okay, so you with me so far? I'm going to be repetitive so that we get it. 12 notes, 7 notes. 12 notes in the world, 7 notes in the major scale. Now, if you followed that so far, check this out. Out of those 7 notes, we can select 3 of them. We select 3 of them. The first one, the third one, and the 5th one. And we make a chord. A chord just means notes played simultaneously. Rather than playing them alone and sounding them by themselves, the 1, the 3, and the 5, we play them together and we get an out of tune G chord. Okay? Now you say, well, there's more than 3 notes in that chord, Frank. Not really. They're just the same 3 notes repeated. Okay? So in the key of G, it doesn't matter what key. We've got 12 notes in the world. We've got 7 notes that make up the Western scale, the major scale, by which all of our popular music is written by and large. Almost everything you've ever heard on the radio. Okay? And out of those 7 notes, we choose 3. The first one, the third one, and the 5th one. So we give those names, numbers, to the notes in the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. We're back to the 1, just higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Back to there. Then we can continue up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we can keep going. Okay? So we take those 3, the 1, the 3, and the 5, and we make a chord. If we do it in A, okay, I'm out of tune, but I'm not going to fix that right now. Okay, so you with me so far? Let's go on to the next part from there, okay? So far we've got notes, 12. Scale, major scale, 7 notes. Chords, taking 3 of those notes. Now, if we take a minor scale, all we have to do is change 1 note out of that major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a pattern. That's a sequence. If we take that 3rd note, 1, 2, 3, and we move it down 1 fret. We take that note and we move it down 1 note, no matter what instrument you're on. Piano, saxophone, flute, it doesn't matter. That's all you're doing to make a major scale, a minor scale, out of a major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Now, you get that chord, A minor instead of A major. 1 note difference. Listen, major, it's just the 3 notes repeated out of that major scale. The 1, the 3, and the 5 make an A chord. If I change it to a flat 3 or a lowered 3, we get this. Listen to how they work together. Minor, now major. That's basically what you need to know to write popular music. Now, we're not talking about how to play the chords and how to form the chords. Most of you probably know this already. I'm just trying to give you a crash course in music theory so that if you're jamming or you're writing, you'll have a better understanding of how it all works. And we'll go into more detail in later videos. But right now, I'm just trying to give you the 101 of the 101 here. Okay, so where are we? 12 notes in the world, 7 notes in the major scale by which Western music is created. Take 3 of those notes to make a major chord or a minor chord. That's all we've covered so far. So you've got notes, scales, chords. Now, hang in there for this part because this is probably the most complex part, but it's not really complex. Here we go. You have 7 notes in that major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Each one of those notes gets its own chord. 7 notes in the major scale, 7 chords in the major scale. That gives you 7 chords to write music with. There's the beauty, okay? 12 notes in the world, 7 notes in the major scale, 3 notes of the major scale to make chords, and we can make 7 chords out of those 7 notes, right? So we take, if we're taking the key of A just for the sake of argument here, and we start on A, we got the 1, the 3, and the 5, that makes an A major chord. If we start on the next note in the major scale, what? After A comes B. We can make a chord from that B. Then we can make a chord from the C sharp, which is the next note. Then we can make a chord from the D, a chord from the E, a chord from the F sharp, a chord from the G sharp, and then we're back to A. Each one gets a chord. Easy, right? Now we could see where songwriting begins. Now, next. Some of those chords, just by the way the notes fall when you're making chords, some of them, of those 7 chords from the 7 notes of the major scale, some are major, some are minor. We're actually even going to skip one and throw it in the garbage for now, okay? Because one of them is more of a jazzy chord, has a little bit of dissonance in it. Here's what dissonance means. This sounds good. This sounds weird. That's dissonance. Good? Weird. Notice I didn't say bad, weird. Okay? So it can be very cool to use that at times. But we're going to take 7 chords. We're actually going to only use 6 that you can get from the major scale. Now you might want to write these down. You could also watch this video over and over again to pick it up. Also, you can use the slowdown feature on YouTube. If you go in the little wheel for the settings, find it wherever you're looking, on your phone, your television, your remote, your computer, however you're looking at YouTube here. Find the little settings icon and look for speed. You can slow it down or speed up the video, either way, without changing the pitch. So you'll be able to follow along, and I can sound more like this. So we've got 7 notes in the main, much easier, okay? So we get 7 chords out of those 7 notes. Write this down. The first chord from the first note is always major. Always, I say, for pop music, for all intents and purposes, generally speaking, because you can always break the rules. But first chord is major, second chord is minor, the third chord from the third note, right, is minor, the fourth chord is major, the 5 chord is major, the 6th chord is minor, the 7th chord we're skipping, and we're back to the first chord, right? So you've got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, home. So that's what you need to know. You'd be shocked at how many popular songs, countless, millions of pop songs, millions, are written with 3 of those chords, right? Just using 3 chords, right? You may take a C, F. Now in the key of C, which that song is, I'll show you in a second. If we look at C, we've got the major scale. First note being C, right? And then we've got F in this song, C to F. So where's F? It's the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, do, re, mi, fa. So you've got C and F, the 1 and the 4 of that major scale, each get a chord. Now remember, we said the 1 chord is major and the 4 chord is major. So you can write endless songs with 2 chords, right? C major, F major. Take a song like Modern English. Moving forward using all my breath. Making love to you was never second best. I'll stop the world and live with you. Okay, so you see how easy that is? Just easy. Just write $1 million hit songs. Just rake in the money. Super easy, just like that. Now go do it. That's the key, and that brings us to our next point. We could do 1 million demos there, but just doing that one gives you an idea, right? We could take those same 2 chords. Let's do 2. Same 2 chords. Remember the old song from the 70s, Rock Me Gently? Same 2 chords. Ain't it good, ain't it right, that you are with me here tonight? The music's playing, our bodies swaying in time. No change, ready? Rock me gently, rock me slowly, and take it easy. Now don't you know that I have never been loved like this before? This guy didn't even change chords from the verses to the chorus. That takes some balls. He just kept on going. C to F, C to F, C to F, C to F, right? And we could just keep going with this all night long. But this brings us to our next step. And that is the melody of the song. The melody of the song. That's where your money is. Most people tuning into a tune on the radio don't give a rip what chords are going on underneath, right? They don't care about whether it's 16th note rhythm or 8th note rhythm, or if it's got odd time signatures, or how much overdrive you've got on you. What they care about is, can I sing this? Does it have a great hook? Does it catch me? Does it make me want to tap my foot or snap my fingers? Or do I get an earworm and sing that thing all day at work so that I go out and I buy the music or I download it on my phone? How do you write the melodies? Well, how you do it is a complicated question. We could talk about the theory of it, which we're going to do right now, but having the gift to write the incredible melodies that these songwriters that we all know and love write, well, that's another thing. You imagine when, let's talk about Van Halen for a second. When Eddie Van Halen maybe introduced the riff of Running with the Devil to the band, and he just showed them the... Right? David Lee Roth is the one whose job it was to write the melody that you and I would sing. Now, as guitar players, we might care about what Eddie Van Halen is playing underneath the vocal line. But I assure you, and you know this already, most people don't. Especially if you're not a musician. You just want to sing the song. Does it make me feel good? Does it energize me? Does it make me sad? Does it make me cry? Does it make me want to punch a hole in the wall? Whatever it is. So Dave had to come up with that. I found the simple life, one so simple, no. So David Lee Roth is the one that had to come up with the vocal line that you and I love, that you and I sing. He heard that when Eddie played it, and he had to think not only about the lyrical content, but what melody am I going to write over the top of that? You know, I found the simple life, weren't so simple. Those are notes. Those are notes. Where does he get those notes? Well, usually, to be honest, most people who are gifted in that area can hear it in their head. They hear the... And they're musically gifted, so they can hear... they work it out. I'm going to sing this line. And they kind of put it together. I'm sure Dave wasn't thinking, well, what scale are you playing? What key are you in? What scale are those chords coming from? Let me go over to my piano and work it. He's hearing it and starts singing and working. Hey, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good. No, that note doesn't work. Yeah, no, that's good. That's how most of them are doing it. And that's great. That's fine. Whatever works. But those notes, regardless of how they're getting there, are coming from the notes in the key that the song is written in. So let's go back. 12 notes in the world. 7 notes in the major scale, which is the scale we use to write almost every pop and rock tune you've ever heard. 12, 7. 3 notes from that scale give us a chord, and we can get 7, 6 for our purposes, chords out of that scale. Some of them are major, some of them are minor. Then you take notes from that scale and you use them to create the vocal melodies. If we're in the key of A and we're using those 7 chords that come out of that 7-note major scale to write a song, we can take those 7 notes and use them to create a vocal melody. Now you can slide into those notes from notes that are not in the scale, right? For example, here's the first note of the scale. This note, down 1 fret, or down one note, is not in the key, but we can slide into the good note in our vocal line if we like. We can bend up to that note. Or we could bend over it or under it. Right, that's how you get sort of bluesy stuff happening in the vocal line, right? We can do bends up to the note like the E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C sharp, D, E. We can bend up to that E. We can in our vocals and bend. So we may be coming from a note that's in the scale and bending up to another note. We may be coming from a note that's not in the scale and bending to a note that is in the scale. There's all kinds of techniques, right? You can go whoa, 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 in and out of different notes All kinds of things we can talk about in other videos. But basically how you get those killer vocal lines. I don't care what if you're talking about Sinatra and you're thinking of a song like I've got you under my skin, I've got you, those notes ba da da are coming from inside the chord or the scale that they're using at the moment. More often than not, now get this one, write this down. More often than not, whatever chord you're on in the song, the vocalist is using notes out of that particular chord to create the melody at its current point in the song. Go back and listen to what I just said there again. If you're playing a G chord at this part in the song, I've got 3 notes in that G chord, right? 3 notes to make a chord out of the G major scale. I've got G, the 1, I've got B, the 3, and I've got D, the 5. So those are my 3 golden notes for writing a melody while this is going on. Let's just test that. Here's the first note, here's the third, and here's the 5th. Ah, 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 ah. Right? Do it higher. Let's make a little melody. Da 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 da. Now you put some words to that, you got something. Friday night I went out for a joyride. Friday night she said no to me. Friday night I went out for a joyride. I'm doing it on the fly, mistakes and all. But you get the point. All I did there was use the 3 notes that are in the chord. Those are... Major scale, 3 notes that are in that chord. Now if we went to the next chord and it was a minor chord, A minor, we could do the same thing by taking 3 notes out of that scale. Now this time we've got that flatted third because it's minor. So we would create a vocal melody over that chord if that were the next chord in the song. Then we would play the first melody and we would create a second melody off the second chord and so on. Now a lot of songs just have 3 chords. Most of them have 3 chords. Pop songs. So let's recap here today. 12 notes in the world. 7 of those notes we take out of the 12 and we make our own scale and we call it the major scale. Because we just like the way those notes went together to create do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Then we take 3 of those notes out and we make a chord. Then we select another 3 of them and we make a second chord. We select another 3 of them and we make a third chord until we get 6 chords for us. We're throwing one of them away. So we got 6 chords and we link those chords together however we want. Now there are typical ways to do it, but you can do it any way you want. And those are called chord progressions. The way the chords progress. I used the chord built from the first note. Then I went to the chord built from the 4th note. Then I went to the chord built from the 5th note. Then the 6th note. Then back to the 1. Then maybe I went from the first chord to the second chord. Then back to the first chord. Then to the 5 chord. Then back to the 1 chord. Any way you want. There's all kinds of typical progressions, right? That are blues progressions, gospel progressions, metal progressions, so forth and so on. And then you take those progressions and they become songs. And then you write vocal melodies over the top by using the notes contained inside of each chord, whatever chord you're singing over. That's how you do it. Now we can go into much greater detail about this, but we're not going to do that today. This is a 101 of the 101 video. Go back and watch this as many times as you need to get this, because this is going to come in handy. It's going to be a tremendous help for your musical career, whether you're doing this as a hobby or whether you're doing this as a professional or you want to do it as a professional. You're going to need to get this 101 of the 101 stuff under your belt. Okay? And it's going to help you tremendously in the future. I guarantee it. Do me a favor, if you got something out of this video today, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss any new content that I post. And I got a lot more coming your way. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate it. I'm that guitar guy, Frank Spear. See you next time.